Hello everyone. In this video, we will discuss about virtual machine availability sets. In the previous video, we have seen what are the managed disks which are available for your virtual machine and how it is going to protect your virtual machine when there is a failure of the storage, when you choose LRS or ZRS. Let us understand what is availability sets. In availability sets, there are two important concepts. One is fault domain. The other one is update domain. Fault domain, it is all concerned about the hardware. It can be power supply, it can be network and network. Update domain, it is all concerned about the maintenance of the server. This is the maintenance of the host where the virtualization platform is running. For each of the host, there can be virtual machine which will be deployed, and each of the virtual machine, what it is deployed on the host which is running the Hyper-V, this particular virtual machine can be of customer X, this virtual machine can be of customer Y. Within the same host, there will be multiple virtual machines which will be running for multiple customers. This host is not dedicated for one particular customer. So this is the host. This is also a server, which is a physical server. On top of the physical server, there are multiple virtual machines which are running. Let us understand the availability set with an example. This is the fault domain 0, this is the fault domain 1, and this is the fault domain 2. You have maximum of 3 fault domains and maximum of 20 update domains. So each fault domain, if I say this is the power source and we have another power source here, each of the rack is going and connecting to 2 different power sources. So this will be connecting to another power source, this will be connecting to another power source. We have network switches for each of the fault domain. These are the network switches for each of the fault domain. These network switches provide traffic for the management, data traffic, and it will also provide the connectivity for the control traffic. Also, it will connect to the storage devices. The idea of fault domain is basically when there is a failure of your power supply to the rack itself. If there is a problem with the power supply, so both the power supply has failed for this particular rack, and if there is a failure of the networking device, then this particular rack is completely down. All the servers which are hosting the virtual machine for your organization, or it can be multiple organization, will go down. So that is the reason we need to use the fault domain. So if I am using fault domain as 3, my virtual machine will be spread across multiple fault domains. So these are the virtual machines will be spread across. This is virtual machine 1, this is virtual machine 2, this is virtual machine 3. So these virtual machine will be spread across multiple racks. This rack, which is fault domain 0, has failed, but fault domain 1 and 2 is available. So the virtual machine 2 and 3 is online. If I have selected the fault domain as 2, I can select the fault domain from 1 to 3. Now I have selected only 2 fault domains. So now the virtual machine will be spread across 2 fault domains. This will be my first virtual machine. This will be my second virtual machine. This rack doesn't have any virtual machine because I have not mentioned the fault domain to 3. So only 2 virtual machines will be available. Let us understand what is an update domain. As I said, there is a server which is a physical server which has multiple virtual machines which are running on the physical server. So this is virtual machine 1, this is virtual machine 2, this is virtual machine 3. And this can be customer X, customer Y, and customer Z. So each of the server, this is a physical server. This is also called as host. Whenever I say host, it is nothing but the physical server which runs the virtualization software. In this case, it will be Hyper-V. And the virtual machine is called as guest. Whenever there is a maintenance of this physical server, which is sitting in one of the rack, if I take an example of the update domain, let us say we have the rack 0 or fault domain 0, under which we have some virtual machines which are running. This can be of customer X, customer Y, and customer Z. So there are 3 virtual machines running on top of this physical server. So this is the physical server. If there is a problem with the physical server due to any maintenance or the server itself has any issues, then the virtual machines which are hosted on this particular physical server will be offline. So that is the reason we have a update domain concept. If I have selected fault domain is equal to 3 and update domain is equal to 5, my virtual machines will be spread across multiple update domains. So this will be my update domain 2, and the virtual machine will be in another update domain. If there is a problem with the physical server, this is gone down, this will be available on another physical server. Since I have also selected 3 fault domains, my virtual machines will be available in another fault domain in another update domain. So this is my update domain which I have selected, which is 5. So 3, it is done. There will be another update domain for the 4th. So if this physical server fails, there is no impact to this particular physical server, right? Even though it is in the same rack, which is in the same fault domain 0, but this physical server is not down. Only this physical server is down. We can call this as server 0. This we can call it as server 1. And whatever virtual machines which are running on this particular update domain 4, it will be available. Similarly, I have another virtual machine. Because I have set fault domain to 3 and update domain to 5, my another virtual machine will be available in another fault domain in another update domain. Let us say we don't have any issues on this physical server and this particular physical server is good. But what will happen while OS maintenance or OS updates? When there is a OS update, the servers require a reboot, right? So between each of these update domain reboots, Azure will ensure that there is a 30-minute interval. So when this physical server, the virtualization software or the host OS is getting updated, only after 30 minutes, Azure is going to touch the another update domain. So this will ensure the virtual machine, which is running on different update domains within an availability set, it will not be impacted. So you have the fault domain, which takes case of the hardware failure, and the update domain which will take care of the OS maintenance or the server maintenance of the host itself. So this is how the fault domain and update domain will work. So now we understood what is availability set. How do we create an availability set? To create an availability set, we have 2 options. One is while creating the virtual machine. When we create the virtual machine, we can create the availability set. And we choose the fault domain and update domain. So once we set the fault domain to 3 and update domain to 5, we will not be able to change this availability set. Basically, the availability set is nothing but a policy what you are going to create, and you can attach this particular policy while creating the virtual machine. you can attach this policy. So while creating the virtual machine, you have an option to create the availability set, or beforehand, you can create the availability set. Create the availability set, choosing the fault domain and update domain. So once you create the availability set, let us say you have created availability set 001. While creating the virtual machine, you can attach this particular policy with the fault domain and update domain set. So when you have a multi-tier application, for example, there is a application 1. For this, you can have a availability set created with different fault domain and update domain. For app 1 availability set, and for another tier, we can have the virtual machine in a different availability set with a different fault domain and update domain. So let us say for this we have 2 and 3. We can have 3 and 6. This can be your database tier, or it can be middleware. So basically, you are selecting your availability set based on the virtual machines or workloads. When to use the virtual machine? When you wanted to have complete control of the operating system, you deploy the virtual machines as an infrastructure as a service. If you wanted to do some kind of testing and development, you can choose the virtual machines. If there is a custom application which is running on your on-prem environment and you wanted to bring the custom application onto the cloud, you can use the virtual machine and install the custom application. If you are extending your data center, you can use the virtual machine. Then if you are using your on-prem infrastructure and if you wanted to use Azure as your DR site, then you can use the virtual machines. Thank you for watching the video. If you like the content, please subscribe and share. Thank you and take care.